Everybody, this is Perch, and there's been a thing I've seen come out a lot lately, and I don't know if it's somebody did an article about this or a video or why. Suddenly, I'm getting a lot of comments about the publishers basically forcing shops, forcing retail shops to buy a certain number of comics or to buy certain comics. And it's I want to clarify this up a little bit because unless there's something really magical that's happened in the last 2 months, which hasn't. I mean, I'm in a lot of retail groups and retailer groups, and I guarantee you this would be a complete outrage, and there'd be a ton of fuss if this ever went on. Uh, Basically, what happens is to keep your Diamond account or your Lunar account, whatever it happens to be, in good standing, you have to order a certain amount. You have to order a certain volume of comics, but it doesn't specify which comics you have to buy. If you, for example, if you're a comic shop and you're like, you know what, I'm buying nothing from DC but Metal Men. I'm spending $800 on Metal Men, and that's it. It's just getting all of it on that. You could do that, and your account, in theory, would be in good standing. Now, I don't know if at some point your rep calls you up to ask if you're drunk or what's going on there, but you can do that. The comic publishers, and hang on a second, there's a disclaimer coming, but the comic publishers don't really care what it is you're buying. They care about the dollars you're putting in to this particular company's amount of money. And generally speaking, there's not like you don't have to order $100 worth of Xenoscope books. You just order your books, and that's about all there is to it. The difference here, and maybe this is what people are getting a little bit confused about, is there's such a thing called incentive programs. And basically, this is where they say you have to buy a certain number. Oftentimes, it's a certain percentage of your number of a title in order to qualify for another title. You're not barred. Like at no point has there been something like you can't get King in Black unless you order 50 copies of Captain Marvel. That has never been the case. But what they do say is you can't get King in Black variant cover B unless you order 50 copies of Captain Marvel. They have done stuff like that. And it's the goal. I mean, it's an incentive scheme. It's basically in order to qualify for something, you have to order a lot of something else. Now, this is a program, a theme, an idea, a rule, whatever you want to call it. This is something that a lot of people hate, and it is grumbled about in retail groups, although not as much as you'd think. I often really hate it, and I hate it for this reason. I think you should be able to qualify for variant covers or special promotions or marketing packs, whatever it happens to be. I think you should be able to qualify by ordering the book that you're getting the variant for. So I see no problems. I still don't like variants, but I don't see a problem in you have to order 100 copies of King in Black in order to get this special King in Black variant cover. I mean, I see that all as within the same universe. I think that's fine. I don't like it when incentive programs are tied to other books. If you want to get this King in Black variant cover, you have to order, Fantastic Four, and you have to order this certain amount of Iron Man and whatever. I always think that's lousy because it's not, it technically, if your comic audience, if the customers coming into your shop are big King in Black fans, you shouldn't make me have to buy some random comic in order to give them more of what they want. That doesn't seem right. Now, is that, some people have described this as crooked. It's not crooked. To me, it's just a bad rule. It's not, I'm not getting stolen from. I'm not getting held hostage by anything. I just think it's a bad rule. I think it's not retailer friendly. I don't think it's customer friendly. And I think it overly complicates things for no good reason. Why this gets done is, here's the basic thinking behind it. And I'm going to say, for the moment, let's put aside any kind of negative feelings about this company or that company, and we're going to go purely for good intentions. The good intentions are this. Marvel says, hey, we've got a book we think is quite good. It's underperforming. It's people are not finding this title. They're not willing to take a chance on it. In today's economy, people are not willing to take a chance on a small book. Therefore, what we're going to do is we're going to incentivize the shop to take more of a risk on this title. Let's say it's Captain Marvel. we think Captain Marvel is great. We've relaunched it 8 times, and we finally got it right. We finally got it. We finally got the book to a point where, hey, it's a good story and there's some good stuff going on. But a lot of the customers, they're not willing to give it a shot because they've been burned by too many relaunches, or maybe they're part of the Al Bundy anti-woman club, whatever it happens to be. They're just not liking it. But if they just would give this book a chance, if they just pick it up and look inside those covers, then they would like it. That's all it would take. And so what they do is they say, hey, we know people really want this King in Black variant cover by Art Adams. Who wouldn't want that? It's good. It's Art Adams. Everybody loves Art Adams, and we're just gonna basically pressure shops to order more copies of Captain Marvel than they're really wanting to order, because they really want to get their hands on this Art Adams cover, and they'll be able to sell it for a higher price. And so therefore, it'll work out. It'll work out for them. They'll be able to make more of a profit. And so that's kind of the exchange for taking some risk on some Captain Marvel books. And win-win, when they get those Captain Marvel books on the shelves, readers are going to come along and they're going to see that cool cover we got commissioned there, and Captain Marvel will be fighting somebody, and it's exciting, and so they'll buy the book and be like, oh my God, where has this been all my life? And then they're going to take it home and they're going to love it, and then they're going to buy Captain Marvel forever. That's the thinking. And companies that are putting out a product, they should always be thinking about ways to get customers to buy their stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, to the contrary, I would argue that comic publishers often don't spend nearly enough time thinking about how to get people to buy their stuff. I think that's the big one, if not the biggest, one of the biggest reasons why the comic industry is hurting, is because there's not enough thought going into, hey, let's get some books out. Let's get some customers to buy things. So I don't take issue with the original idea, but I also think that everything I just laid out for you, it doesn't actually happen. It's a wonderful plan, but unfortunately, the reality of the situation is speculators want their Art Adams cover, so they will pressure the shop into overextending themselves by getting some books they really don't know if they can sell or not, because of the worry that if they don't please this whale customer who wants the Art Adams cover, they're going to take their business over to Midtown or somebody else, and then they'll lose this customer spending $100 a month with them. So they wind up overextending themselves by ordering things they don't know that they can sell. They put it on the shelf. Nobody comes along and it's like, hey, I see this cover of Captain Marvel. I've always hated this character before, but now I'm going to give it a shot and become a lifelong customer. That doesn't actually occur, because typically what's happening is there needs to be multiple things to get somebody excited about the character. The comic is definitely one of them, but you need to do some marketing. You can't just, the plan can't end with retailer gets 20 more copies of something and then life is great. There's got to be more than that. It's got to, the publisher themselves has got to give people a reason. Hey, you should check this book out. That typically doesn't happen, because by the time the book hits the shelves, the publisher's off promoting the next event or whatever's coming up in the future. They've long ago forgotten about this incentive program. And I'm not exaggerating about that part. It's been very common. And you could talk to your local retailer. You can go inside of forums. This happens all the freaking time, where retailers will buy the necessary comics for the incentive program, or think they do, and then they don't get the variant cover. And then they're followed up with Marvel or DC or whoever, usually Marvel, saying, hey, where's my cover? Yeah, I went in on this. I ordered the 200 copies of, Captain Marvel. Where's my Art Adams cover? And Marvel's like, well, what are you even talking about? Did we do that promotion? I can tell you from firsthand experience, getting that response. Like, what? Are you sure we did that promotion? I don't know. I don't see any records of it anywhere. And I learned that I had to, if I was part of this scheme, I would, make a copy. In fact, I was going back through my phone roll the other day and just flipping back in history, and it's like I came across a bunch of photos of me, like literally, taking a picture of the program, you need to order so much of this to get this, and be like, yep, here it is. And I started doing that because I'd get on the phone and the publisher had forgotten about this program, and so I don't have my variant cover, and they're trying to tell me it never existed, and then I'm having to whip out some proof. And so, I mean, you could talk to tons of retailers; they will give you the same story. This is very, very common of a story. So that's in a nutshell. That's, when people say, hey, the publisher is making you buy, Captain Marvel. The answer is, first off, they're not making you. You could still get your comics without ever buying a single copy of Captain Marvel. You could absolutely do that. You're not forced to. You are forced to, if you want certain variant covers, order certain comics, but it's not all of them. It's not a percentage. It's always specific comics. It's like if you want this War of the Realms cover, you're going to need to order more copies of Miles Morales, and if you want this, whatever Avengers cover, you're going to have to order more copies of the Hulk. And they do that stuff all the time, and that is common. But it's never like, if you want this King in Black cover, you're going to have to order all of our comics more. Yeah, that is not the case. It's very specific to certain books. But I don't know exactly where this came from, but I'm seeing it more and more. This idea of like, hey, the publishers are making you buy books, and no, they're not. But that is the truth behind the situation. That is what's going on when you hear this statement. So again, it's one of those things. It's not as bad as it sounds, but it's not great. This isn't a middle of the road take. It's like hey, I wish these incentive programs didn't exist because I think they suck. But it's all right. Anyway, there you go. Hopefully that answered your question. Hey, like and subscribe. Thanks for everybody who subscribed to this channel. We're just clocking right ahead on our way to 1 million subs, and I'm gonna cook Chinese stir-fried rice for everyone live on camera. 1 million subs. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what the cool people do. So that's what I'll do too. So why not? Little cultural appropriation there, cooking rice. So that sounds great. It's on brand. Thanks for listening.